Hey guys, Ben Piersma from Bensbackwoods.com. Today we're going to be talking about a hybrid sled toboggan setup that I use for winter camping. I built this out of two of these Jet Sled Juniors. Basically you set these up so you have a harness as a tow strap and a way to lash down your camping gear. This is primarily set up for winter camping, but you can use these for hauling firewood or as a utility sled. It's a pretty handy setup, so I'm gonna show you guys how I put this together. So to start our build, here's the tools we have. I have a cordless drill. This is a cord wrench drill bit. Got a tape measure, Sharpie marker. This is a duffel bag strap. We'll show you what that does later. This is just a tie down strap for tying your gear down. You can use whatever you want for stuff like this. This is just how I did it. This is two carabiners that I had sitting around. And this is the Cypher 4mm accessory cord that we sell. This is a 30-foot piece, and this will give us what we need. I think I use two 6-foot pieces and two 8-foot pieces for this project. First thing first, we have to drill a couple extra holes on the side of this thing to run a little bit of cord through. You guys can set this up however you like. I'll just show you how I did it. So I wanted to make sure we have holes in the four corners. I'm not getting too super particular on this. Now that I have these a hole drilled in each four corners, what I did was just marked up about 12 inches from that hole and marked out the Sharpie, then on both sides, and then also 12 inches back from the front hole. All right, boom, we got our holes. Now I'm gonna cut some cord, and I want two 6-foot pieces of cord to go along here as far as give us the ability to tie gear down on. So alright, so you guys can see this, the tag of this cord coming out of here. I'm going to just tie myself a double overhand knot. What I'm going to try to do is keep these knots, these loops, as close to the same size as possible. When I hook these two sleds together, ideally this would be perfect, but if it's not perfect, it's still going to work fine, just so the sleds track together. I measured out 6 inches of this cord, fold that in half, and I want to tie that into a loop. And make sure your knot is set in there right. I'm looking for about a 2-finger tag end on here. I feel like that's enough to keep it secure, and pull this thing tight. All right, we've got a loop on all four corners and a little bit extra cord in the center here to use for tying down, lashing gear, what have you. So this next step, we want two 8-foot pieces of cord. The holes drilled in these things are for a larger diameter. Maybe it's a 3/8 or quarter. So what I'm going to do is thread this through here, and I'm going to tie a little bulkier knot. You could do a double overhand knot again if you want, and then you'd have a little loop in here. I'm just going to tie an overhand knot, and then when I'm tying this overhand knot, instead of going right through this hole here, I'm going to take this overhand knot and wrap it around one time, and that gives me a little more bulk on there. I think that's a figure 8, I'm not sure though. That bigger knot there will grab and not pull through the side of the sled. So alrighty, I'll give you guys a quick view of what we've done so far with the 4mm cord. Here is our knots in the front here. This is kind of like a figure 8 type knot. It's a little larger diameter hole, if you guys can see that. These are pre-drilled from the factory. So, but that size knot, you could do that double overhand knot. Will give us enough to grab into there. This is the front of the sled. We have a loop there with that double overhand knot, one on each front corner. As we pan back here, here's our hole that's 12 inches back. Here's some extra cord. We could tie this tighter, but I wanted to have some extra to wrap around any type of gear you're hauling, give you a little extra places to tie down to. And this hole back here is 12 inches from this back hole. Same thing here, we have that double overhand knot. I can squeeze 3 fingers in there, about a 2-finger tag. Just trying to keep those as close to similar as possible. Same thing on this back corner. So that's it so far. Now I'll show you guys how I attach the 2-inch wide webbing for a strap. All right, so here we have our 8-foot cords. Run the 8-foot cord through there. I tie one overhand knot. Keep about that 2-finger tag on there. And then that overhand knot is going to go around that other end of the cord and tie a knot on itself. This is how you start a jam knot. So it basically ends up being a slip knot. And so as you pull tight, this whole thing just slips down and cannot come apart. It's kind of cold out, so these knots, this rope's a little stiff. But there you go, that's tied to that side. We'll do it to the other side as well. All right, good to go. All right, so last on the list here on our pull cord, I like to tie a knot in it about the distance of the sled back. So if you see this, tie it together, an overhand loop and knot about the distance of the sled itself, and we'll do it on this one. Pull that tight. I think this helps it maybe track a little better when you're pulling it. Also, a lot of times we're using a really long cord on this to pull. When you get into some tight corners or tight woods like that, you can reach back and grab a hold of this knot, and you've got something to kind of steer the sled with and maneuver it with a little easier. So you've got that double overhand knot in there, and then it goes out to your leads with your 2-inch wide strapping. So that's it, they're finished. Two of the exact same sled setup. I threw a carabiner on the back of this guy. That way I can clip this sled to that sled for our hybrid toboggan. So the benefits of this type of setup, using these Jet Sled Juniors, this is a narrower sled than the full-size sleds. This track, when you're snowshoeing with traditional type snowshoes, you're packing a trail, and this sled will sit right inside that trail. That's the idea with using toboggans for winter camping. Something that's longer and narrower will pull easier. Another point to make with that is that longer and narrower, that first sled in this dual sled system, that first sled, first off, your snowshoes are packing down a trail, then that next sled hits that trail and packs it down, and it's packing it down for the sled behind it. So it's more efficient. If you ever try to pull one of the wider full-size Jet sleds full of firewood and deep snow, it doesn't work very well at all. So these narrower sleds are definitely the way to go. couple more benefits with this. These are cheap. These are like 30, 35 bucks. I can take 2 of these sleds and they will nest together in the back of a vehicle. So for transporting these, it's nice and easy to transport them like that. I've got 2 sleds now set up exactly the same way. If I'm doing a lighter weight camp, 2 people can pull these sleds. 1 person can pull each sled, obviously. If I need to clip these together for more of a hybrid type toboggan, I can pull both of them. If I run into a point and get to camp, I can unclip 1 sled, take the other sled and go get firewood, load up with firewood with it. If I'm trying to get up a steep hill or maybe down a steep hill, I can unclip these sleds and pull each one up individually, and that just makes it a lot easier if you're hauling a lot of gear. So show you guys a picture of this thing loaded up. I got a little bit of gear out here and maybe pulling it through the yard here. So here we go. We're going to clip both these sleds together. I've got a duffel bag back here, a backpack full of gear here. This isn't very heavy. I just tuck in the main pull cord on the sled that we're not pulling, and a carabiner on each side of this. Clip that through there. This will give the sled, this is why I was shooting to get these loops about the same size. That way when you're pulling on this sled, it's going to pull directly on this sled behind it. It's going to track straight. If these are really crooked, it's not going to track straight. Nice thing about this, we've got 8 inches in between these 2 sleds right now. When you go to turn one of these sleds, it will articulate a little bit like this to go around corners. So that worked out well. So we'll give her a little pull in the yard here. Pulls pretty easy. Hope you guys enjoy this project. Thanks for watching.